the chair for PCAB, and I see a lot of all of my members on as well, which is exciting. So we will move forward. And first up, our mental health session part one is from City Schools. We have Katia Stokes, Adrienne Sase, and Lawanda Johnson, the Wholeness and Wellness team representatives for City Schools. So you all are ready to go?
Yes, we are ready.
All right, excellent. I will stop sharing so that you can share. And hold on, multiple screens going on. All righty, the floor is yours. Thank you for the time, and we are looking forward to this mental health session, part one. So let's go.
Good evening, and thank you very much for the invite. We really appreciate you and the PCAB community. We are here today from Baltimore City Public Schools to share some information with you based on your request and to take part in your dialogue afterwards. As the slides are coming up, I'm just going to let you know there are some of my colleagues that are going to be joining me today. We have Director Stokes, who will be sharing with us. If we can go to the next slide. Director Stokes will be sharing with us about student wholeness and how it relates to the topic that we have been tasked to cover today. I have Director Eric Banzak, who's going to cover the culture and climate piece. We are joined by one of our colleagues and partners in the work from Related Services, Director Lawanda Johnson. And then from the Office of Health and Specialized Student Services, we have Dr. Cisse, who will be supporting us as well. As we go to the next slide, we wanted to make sure that we define the terms that we have up here today. I'm not going to read everything verbatim, but we also wanted to make sure we were able to unpack it so that you would be able to see the work that we're doing under these areas. Much of this, all of this can be found in our policy ADFRD, which is around student wholeness and supportive services. Now, we know when we think of wholeness, when we think of this and we're defining the terms, I'm always reminded of the three B's: being, becoming, and belonging. You see my colleague smiling. I can't do it as well as Madam Katia Stokes, but for for this part here, I just wanted you to know we have the definition here that we actually have in our policy. The part I really want to point out to you today is that student wholeness also includes supporting students' social and emotional learning and helping them develop confidence, manage stress and emotions, collaborate and negotiate conflict, and make responsible decisions. Now, knowing that is what we ground things in, wellness is actually a component of student wholeness. And the definition is up on the screen that we use to describe our work. But then we have behavioral health here, and behavioral health actually impacts wellness. So, as we go through this presentation, we're going to unpack these areas as my colleagues come up to share with you some work that we're doing around this. Next slide, please.
Well, I am going to go ahead and say that I think you did an amazing job with introducing the being, belonging, and becoming. And I will add two more P's into that too. It's purpose and passion. And so our work here under the student wholeness arm, as Edie Goodwin said, I am Katia Stokes, the Director of Student Wholeness here in this office. As she so eloquently stated, I like to coin our work as being, belonging, becoming, and then I've added two more P's, purpose and passion. And the reason why that is so important to elevate is that in this work that we're doing here, we're really making sure that our work focuses in on young people being able to develop the confidence in who they are, and that they are able to develop the agency to be able to walk into a room, own a room, be comfortable in the space. I often say that when we think about academics, we spend a lot of time learning about math, numbers, reading, and writing. And here in this work, where we focus in here on wholeness, particularly when it comes to like social emotional learning, we're giving our young people space and opportunity to be experts of themselves and experts in who they are. So I'm going to share a little bit here, just briefly today about what some of those initiatives looks like across our school, across all of our school settings. For some of the initiatives, you'll see that they're in just in a few pilot schools, but I'll distinguish those for you. So the first initiative, what we really explore is our advisory and morning meeting. Again, here, this is really a space where we were really intentional as a district coming out of the pandemic. I recall that our families were really adamant about making sure that two things happened. One, for sure, that the school culture and climate or schools felt like a place where everyone was seen, felt, and heard. But the second place was an opportunity for wellness and an opportunity to share learned experiences. And so many of our families, if you recall, they had an opportunity to join different meetings and share where would they like for us to focus our efforts. And so this was one of those efforts that was voted upon across the district. So this wasn't just something that as a district we thought was a best practice, but this was also something that our community really emphasized wanting us to invest in. So morning meeting advisory is something that is expected across all of our schools. For our K-5 schools, it's 20 minutes daily. And then for our middle and high schools, it is for at least 60 minutes a week. It can be 2 30-minute sessions, or it can be one 60-minute session. But here, there's an opportunity to do a little deeper dive into social emotional learning. It's really intentionality around relationship building, wellness practices, but again, an opportunity for young people to really dig deeper into who they are. From an office standpoint here, we do a lot of technical support. We have worked with partners to help us to be able to develop content that our schools can utilize. Schools have the ability to utilize our content, or they can also utilize content from a curriculum. It is of their choice. The second program here is around our bullying awareness and prevention. In our office here, our office supports with ensuring that we are reducing barriers to reporting. Over the past 2 to 3 years, we have really had a concerted effort to make sure that everyone knows how to report. One thing that we heard from our young people, particularly when we were transitioning back to school after the pandemic, was, hey, we need to be a little bit more transparent about how we actually report. Where does that occur? How do we do this? So we wanted to be intentional about that in these past couple of years. The other thing that we've started to be a little bit more intentional about is making sure that we're doing awareness programming. We have partnered with a couple of organizations across the city, and to be able to do not only assemblies, but to be able to do some speaker series within our schools, and to be able to focus in on here recently on workshops. And those workshops really dig deeper into really understanding and peeling back the onion around what is bullying, what is conflict, how might I tell the difference between the two? Or if I experience a conflict, or if I experience something, then what should I do? And then how am I able to be a bystander within our school community and be an advocate for others? Next slide, please. The next initiative that I'll speak about, really excited about this one. This is new this school year. We are partnering with CDRM, which is the Center for Dispute Resolution at the University of Maryland. This has been a 2-year journey now, where last year we focused in on developing the capacity of adults to be peer coordinators within our schools. And then this school year, we are focusing on being able to train up to 60 young people to be peer mediators. We wanted to be able to start small because, you know, that we want to be able to give people the opportunity, or schools the opportunity, to sustain the program. And so we have started small, mostly within our schools where we have wholeness specialists. We focused in on schools where they can have 2 adults to serve as those peer mediation coordinators. It was one of the things we've learned and heard from the research, is that the peer mediation program really is sustainable in our schools where they have systems and structures in place to sustain it. And one of those key things being that there are adults who are able to support young people with the space to actually lead the sessions, but also the space and opportunity to practice those skills. So all of our young people in their training, this model is grounded in restorative practices. So they really do learn how to use the circle questions. They learn how to use affective statements. They learn how to do proactive circle facilitation. So our young people, after they've completed this training, we can all say that they all have been exposed to restorative practices training. The last one here is our Student Wholeness Specialist Initiative. This was birthed out of the Blueprint for Success under Dr. Santelises around 2017, 2018. We have 41 specialists who are trusted adults in our school communities. We like to call the room an oasis of calm. And it's an oasis of calm where our young people can have an opportunity to have respite. They have an opportunity to restore. They have an opportunity to decompress. But there's also a space for them to gain access to tools, strategies, and resources on how to acquire healthy coping strategies. During the just last school year alone, there were 4,336 sessions conducted by our wholeness specialists in those schools. And then the techniques and the strategies they've shared with them ranged anywhere from mindfulness to being able to do, of course, they also are trained in restorative practices. So they also do conflict resolution. They also do proactive circles, whether there's breathing techniques. And then they also had an opportunity to also teach them sensory or utilizing sensory activities. Again, this is another space and opportunity in our school communities where young people can gain access to tools and strategies for wellness, but there's also a space here with our wholeness specialist work. They focus in on SEL. And a lot of their work in SEL, we really try to be intentional about, again, our young people being confident in who they are and giving them the tools and the strategies to develop that confidence. And what I described on the student wholeness arm, where our young people can go into spaces where they feel brave to be, I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Eric Banzak, who will talk about the culture and climate, and then how his work focuses in on creating those environments where our young people feel brave to be.
So
Eric, you're on mute. If you can unmute yourself, Eric.
sorry. Thank you. So like Ms. Stokes said, we have two arms under our wholeness department. One arm focuses on students and the other arm, focuses on adults. And we know that, focusing on students is very important, but we know focusing on adults is important as well, too. And these are some of the initiatives that I'll talk about in this slide and the next slide, how we support our adults and creating and shaping up climate and culture within schools. The first initiative that I'll talk about is restorative practice, just like Ms. Stokes says or said that like our wholeness specialist and in peer mediation, our students are being trained, but we also have to train adults. And one of the things we looked at with restorative practice is creating a systemic approach and doing that by building internal capacity. And one of the areas that we wanted to focus on is starting with our administration. And we started this last year, so it's been a 2-year journey. We started training all of our principals and assistant principals in the foundational restorative practice. And then we started looking at training our central office, because we know here at central office, we know different departments work with families on a daily basis, and that can be from any issues. So how do we support them, and how do we support the families that come in and support the offices that give support to the families? So one of the things that we started doing is training those offices in the fundamentals of restorative practice, but we know that it needed to go deeper. So what we started offering about the end of last year to continuation of this year is we offered the train-the-trainer model to build that internal capacity, one at schools. So schools have that internal capacity to train new staff that get hired, but also to train the central office departments here. So that way there's at least one person trained. So anybody that gets hired, they could train those new staff as well. Also, within our systemic approach, we knew we had to build and monitor and support implementation of the schools that are already doing this great work. So we started working with schools, providing support anywhere from the leadership team to principals to coaching and modeling, all the way down to teachers and helping them support with conflict resolution or circles within the classroom. And then within our systemic approach, we looked at partners and resources. We know we have a large district and we know we can't do this alone. So we started looking at all the different partners that we have available to us, and actually bringing on new partners as well, and working with them to help build and monitor and support the implementation of restorative practice. And within this, with resources, we know that funding could be tight sometimes. So we started looking at different grants, and we have multiple grants now that we utilize to help support funding and help build and monitor and support our schools. And then last is just applying a restorative lens. Every time we're here at central office, just trying to apply a restorative lens to things we do. One of the things that we've been working with the student conduct. With the student conduct and attendance office is, with the code of conduct, looking at how do we apply a restorative lens there, and how is it incorporated there. So just starting to look at that and looking at how we could look at things through a restorative lens. The second initiative is our climate walks. This has been done now for several years, and every year we identify a group of schools that can benefit from the climate walk. And this year we assessed 41 schools this year based off of the top suspensions per 100 students. And we look at them and we do the climate walk based off our climate domains that we have. Created. I think they were created right out of came out of COVID, so 21, 22. And when we go in, we look at the domains, but then we also identify either a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 support based off of the observations that were done through the fall climate walk. Next slide. Another initiative that it started last year as a pilot is our student transition ambassadors, or we would like to refer to them as our STAs. And the STAs support students with transition, and we work closely with our enrollment choice and transfer office, and we work with them with students that are being transferred either through an administrative or safety transfer. And when the ambassador or when the student gets approved for the transfer and then gets assigned an ambassador, those ambassadors not only work with the students, but they work with the families as well. And they support the families or parent or guardian and the student, and they try to make the transition as smooth as possible. But the most key is to be sustainable. We know when a student gets transferred, we want to make sure that they're have a connectiveness to the new school, but also make sure that what supports are needed. So that could be working with the community school coordinator, that's working with the administration. There's also a mentor that's assigned to the student for the school, so that way we could build internal sustainability. So this way, when the ambassador leaves, they have a mentor, they have a person at the school that they can trust and they can confide in. But we also want to make sure that they're making friends, that teachers, they feel connected to their teachers. But we also want to make sure that the parent or guardian or families have a connectiveness as well, and they feel comfortable that they could talk to the administration if there's a concern arise, because again, we don't want them to come back to our enrollment choice and transfer office to transfer. And the last initiative is our strategic climate coaches. These are staff that we have that they go in and they support in strengthening school climate. They first start off by doing a climate walk or doing a tier fidelity inventory assessment, and they work with the leadership team and different offices that are involved with the school. And then they provide intensive coaching to school-based climate teams and or identified staff. They support progress monitoring of identified data, and then you use climate data and climate walks to provide strategies to continuously improve the school climate. And they also provide professional development to deepen understandings of the priority of the climate domains, like I talked about a little earlier. Another thing they've done is they have done tier 1 for the district and provide climate support to the district in our learning arcs that we provide on systemic PD days this year. And they've also provided professional learning communities with working in collaboration with the climate leads or the point of contacts at the schools by network. And they've pulled those small groups and been able to provide climate and restorative practice support. Next slide.
All right. My name is Mahmoud Sayed. I'm one of the coordinators of school psychology, and I know I work with Katia and uh, Ms. Goodwin as well. We provide school psych services as well as school social work services within the school setting. All traditional schools are assigned at least one certified or licensed school psychologist per 850 students, which is pretty competitive in comparison to the rest of the state. We also have one licensed social worker in our schools. The primary responsibility is to provide federally mandated mental health support to students needing services based on their IEP or 504 plan, as well as overall climate support to the entire school community. And that's our ultimate goal as mental health providers within the school setting. Specific services and volume of services vary obviously from school to school and is largely dependent upon the clinician's IEP and 504 caseloads. So depending on the size of the school, the nature of the school, it all depends on how the school social worker and school psychologists are supporting our students day to day. Next slide, please. We also assess general supports, assist in response to school-wide crisis, and serve as team members in conducting behavior threat assessment. That's a big push. Creating and supporting implementation of behavior interventions for our individual students. We collaborate with teachers, school staff, paras, other mental health providers to make sure that behavior interventions plans are implemented day to day. We also develop a plan to support individual classrooms and school-wide attendance goals. And we also help in creating and conducting therapeutic groups around identified school-wide and individual student needs. So overall, what we are doing within the school setting is providing school-wide supports, individual supports to students, and also connecting with community stakeholders as well as the parents. And I will give the next two slides to Ms. Johnson, who's the coordinator of school social work services.
Good evening. My name is LaWanda Johnson. I am one of the coordinators of social work services. How our families are able to access our mental health supports is via our related services. Is students with IEPs and 504 plans access counseling services through related services on their IEP and 504 plan. Our general education students can receive direct counseling after being assessed for the need and consent given by their parents. School-based staff also refer students to our clinical staff that they have identified as needing needs. So if there are teachers, our administrators, other professionals in the building can refer for services to our social workers and our psychologists if they have identified a need where they need support around social, emotional, and mental health well-being. Next slide. This is the data that we have collected from last school year in reference to the numbers of services that have been provided, broken down by school psychological services and school social work services. So in reference to school psychological services, we provided for students with IEPs, over 1,500 students received individual counseling sessions, and over 5,000 students received group counseling sessions. For our general education students, they received over 3,400 students received individual counseling, and the number of 504 students receiving individual counseling from a psychologist was over 1,700. In reference to our social work services, for our students identified with IEPs, we provided over 2,400 individual social work and counseling sessions and over 6,700 group sessions for our students identified with IEPs. And for our general education students, we provided over 7,000 individual counseling sessions and over 4,000 504 sessions for individual counseling. Next slide. And good evening. My name is Dr. Adrienne Cisse. I am the coordinator of Health and Specialized Student Services from the Office of Health and Specialized Student Services. And in collaboration with my colleagues, um, we are here to talk about what we also do in our office. And through our wellness policy, we are also committed to fostering environments to promote student health and well-being and safety in a healthy learning environment. And we also, through that wellness policy, coordinate the student wellness support team, which is a district initiative to increase awareness around the social emotional support and mental health and community resources within the school building. So in conjunction with our members of the SWST team, that also consists of our social workers, our school psychologists, any wellness specialists that may be housed in the building, a school counselor who may also be housed, a school nurse, and our expanded school behavioral health provider, and our community school coordinator. These individuals also are tasked to support students around awareness of where they can go inside the building to receive mental health or well-being support, whether it be through referrals and or community-based support. Their job, in addition to other tasks, are to ensure that all students and families are aware of the mental health support that is within the school building. Next slide. So some of the things that the student wellness support team does is that they also conduct monthly meetings to review school status and identify necessary support around mental health, whether it be activities to promote mental health awareness, well-being training for teachers and staff, whatever that may look like. They can also conduct site visits. Our office goes into the schools and support the student wellness support team. Go back to the next slide, the slide before.
I'm sorry, Adrienne. I'm sorry, Miss Gordon. Did you repeat that, please?
I wasn't finished with the next slide. I wasn't finished with the other slide.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we have staff that goes into the school and support our school-based student wellness support team around ensuring that they have the resources that they need, any strategies they need to also support mental health and awareness, and work collaboratively within the school building and with the school community in order to ensure that they are serving those students and families and staff. As you can see, we have T-shirts to provide and promote awareness. We have a safe space that the team can put on their door so students are aware that this is a safe space for their mental health needs. We also have banners housed throughout the school, as well as posters and pictures of all the staff who are a part of the student wellness support team. So students and families can identify those individuals that they can go to in a safe space to provide their needs. Next slide. There we go. Now, our expanded school behavior health, which we also task as ESBH, also works in collaboration with our related service team, as well as our other offices. And that is to provide partnerships with our city schools with mental health inside. And so what that looks like is that there is an ESBH clinical provider in each school within city schools. Their job is to also work with the other clinicians within the building to consult with them and provide observations of students at risk. They receive referrals for community support in school and in person. They also lead groups and deliver educational sessions, and they also support our schools with crisis response. In addition to this, they also work alongside of our ESBH providers in providing our telehealth program that is not listed here, but the SWST team also works to support our telemental health that has recently been brought to city schools through Hazel Health. Next slide. So these are some of the providers that we have in city schools that are a part of our ESBH program. As you can see, We have 3 providers that provide substance abuse as well as substance abuse prevention providers, as well as our regular ESBH providers. And again, they provide the consultations for the school staff, conduct therapeutic groups, participate in team committee meetings, and also family outreach and crisis prevention. Next slide. So here you can see the numbers of 23-24 of the data in which we have consultations, outreach activities, prevention, staff and service, team meetings, and unduplicated support. So as you can see, the numbers continue to increase with consultation, outreach activities. We continue to grow with our prevention activities. Again, our goal overall is to provide prevention for students so they can stay in school every day and be well. Also, as you can see, there's an increase in team meetings and overall 10,825 students with unduplicated students who are receiving support. Next slide. Thank you.
We want to thank you for this opportunity for coming before you today. Hopefully we had a chance to give you the opportunity to look into what we have for our policy ADF-RD, which has student wholeness and supportive services. Our task today was to go over some of the initiatives that we were working on, dealing with wholeness, wellness, behavioral, as well as mental health. Not sure if PCAB wants us to open it up for questions at this time, but we'll turn it over to you. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Goodwin. If anybody has any questions, we can do about 2 minutes of questions. I don't see anything. So thank you again. We appreciate the team from District Wholeness and Wellness. It's been a pleasure getting the information, a lot of good information that was shared. So thank you again for sharing that. And definitely we'll have you back on to share more always, because this is an important topic that we want our families to understand and know and see the commitment that the city schools is making when it comes to mental health and our young people. So we appreciate you and know that the work you're doing is a lot and great. And I'm a big proponent of mental health, especially in our school where we have a clinical social worker. We have a lot of wholeness folks that are connected, and you see the difference in how the families and the scholars react to it. So thank you for all the work you do and the support that you give our colleagues that are out there.
Thank you. We're looking for the opportunity to work along with you.
That's great. Don't offer things, because we'll start taking you up on. You just said work. I got some tasks that I need to complete them. So we're going to move on to our next presenter, and you all are welcome to stay on and be a part of it here as well. We have NAMI Metro Baltimore with Gabrielle Marie Taganis. Hey, Gabrielle, how are you? Good
Doing
seeing you
good.
again.
How is everyone?
I've had the pleasure of having Gabrielle at our school, working with our middle schoolers, which was great session. So thank you again for
Of
coming
course.
and
We
doing
were so
that, which
happy
is great.
to be there. Yeah, it was really fun getting to, know the New Song community, talk about additional partnerships, and really just kind of start expanding our youth programs in West Baltimore schools. So I can talk more about that in just a second.
Excellent.
Um,
So without further ado, Gabrielle will be here. She's presenting now, and we're looking forward to. So the floor is yours. Take it on.
Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Thank you again for having me. My name is Gabrielle. I'm the Youth and Young Adult Engagement Coordinator. And as I pull up my presentation, I just want to kind of give a heads up. I am recovering from a little bit of a chest thing. I don't know if you hear the slight rasp. So if I all of a sudden like jump to mute myself and start coughing up a lung, please don't mind me. I'm okay. I just need to catch my breath. But without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. and mute my phone. So sorry about that. Oh, that's my calendar. Sorry. Okay, can everyone see that? Nope, I'm on Zoom. Oh, lovely. Can everyone see the presentation okay?
Yes, it's showing up.
Okay,
It's not
cool.
in, there you go. Yep, perfect.
All right. I can't see any of you guys, so at any point, you guys can always unmute if you have any questions or save your questions for the end. But once again, my name is Gabrielle. I'm the Youth and Young Adult Engagement Coordinator at NAMI Metro Baltimore. And this is Get to Know NAMI, just to get to know what we do in the Baltimore City and county areas. And yeah, without further ado. So I know that we've already introduced some of us, but you can always start off in the chat. We're always glad to meet new people and we're always open to networking opportunities. So feel free to type in the chat maybe what your name is, how you're doing today, what you're hoping to learn today. And I always like to throw in my own question. What are you guys looking forward to the most in the warm weather? Usually if this is an in-person thing in a smaller group, we do like in-person introductions, but feel free to send those in the chat and I'll love reading up on those later. I'm always looking for food places to as suggestions, so put me on into some new food stuff, okay? So yeah. And so, what exactly is NAMI? We are the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We are associations of hundreds of local affiliates, state organizations, and volunteers who work in communities across the whole country. We are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, providing advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that individuals and families affected by mental illnesses can live better lives. So, all of our support is non clinical. We are peer led and peer based. And we're all about really just sharing the lived experience and sharing people's individual stories in hopes to inspire others and inspire others to get support and to also let people know that, hey, there's someone who looks just like me and who goes through very similar things that I'm going through. I'm not alone in this and there is help out there. So on the right, with the puzzle pieces, you do see kind of how we work. We have a national office that's based in Arlington, Virginia. It's kind of where it started, around in the DMV. And then we have state offices for Maryland specifically. Our state office is in Columbia, so Howard County. And we have local affiliates throughout like surrounding counties in the state. So we have Metropolitan Baltimore, which is Baltimore City and Baltimore County. And there's other local affiliate offices no matter where you go in the country. So, what exactly our mission is that we hope to improve the lives of individuals living with mental health conditions and their families, communities, through education, support, and advocacy. And we envision a world where all people affected by mental illnesses live healthy, fulfilling lives supported by a community that cares. So, we once again are all about really just kind of getting into the community, highlighting people's individuals' live stories, and just giving people a platform to be able to talk about their advocacy, whether that is to government officials or even at presentations. Mental health conditions are common, as many of us know. 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illnesses each year, and just in Baltimore City and County, over 288,000 adults live with a mental health condition. And for all of my Ravens fans out there, that is equivalent to 4 full Ravens stadiums. So 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illnesses each year, and in Baltimore and City and County alone, 71,000 adults have a serious mental illness, and that is only for the ones that are actually reported. There are so many, specifically just in our own communities, that go undiagnosed, and that we obviously recognize that there's so much stigma surrounding that. Preventing people to get not only the proper care, but at least the proper diagnosis to at least know that it is not their fault that they have condition or conditions. Just a little bit of a background about how we work. So we have it as the top-down model because Baltimore and City and Baltimore County, as well as our volunteers who go out in the community, not only advocating for mental health stigma reduction, but really just are the ones experiencing it. They know what exactly we need. And so they come to us, they work with us to kind of give a sense of what we need to provide exactly within our communities. So Nova Getz is our media person. We have development teams. I'm the youth and young adult engagement with programming. We have volunteer managers. We have outreach coordinators. This is not updated, unfortunately. We have 3 now. So Lester Hopkins, the outreach coordinator for East Baltimore City. Tylia Reed is the outreach coordinator for West Baltimore City. And these are one of our 2 main hubs. And we had just gotten a new hub earlier last fiscal year in East Essex and East Baltimore County areas. So that is Miss Rachel Wallace. Oh, and to go back, sorry, to define like hubs are areas throughout our zip codes that we support that have the most action, I guess. And so when we collect data, they have the most people kind of reaching out for our services and participating in our programming. This is also our extensive list of board of directors, and we are always electing them at the annual meeting held every fall. Our board members can serve up to 2 consecutive years, can serve 2 consecutive 3-year terms. So that still kind of confuses me a little bit. I'm not the most knowledgeable in staff about this, but we are also looking for people to participate in current board members because we have a lot of older folks that are reaching to their completion of their terms. And the reason why we put our community and our volunteers at the top of our list of our hierarchy of people is because our active volunteers are really the backbone of our organization. We would not be successful. We would not be as relatable. We would not be as community centered and focused if not for the people that not only we serve, but the people that also help us serve the people that we serve. And in fiscal year 2023 alone, volunteers served over 3,400 hours to support and educate community members about mental health. Quick plug with the presentation, we are always looking for volunteers. Before I get into what the volunteering opportunities look like, the QR code does link you to the volunteer application. We're always looking for people who have lived experience of their own or have a family member with lived experience of having a mental health condition or multiple conditions to get out in the community and advocate for our work and for reducing the stigma and providing education and support that is entirely free to all communities. So let us know. And just to start off with our signature education programs. So these are programs that are offered throughout the country and as well as in our affiliate program is NAMI peer-to-peer as well as family to family. They are both 8-week courses available to the community entirely free for individuals living with mental health conditions or for family members who are learning how to support their family members with mental health conditions. In addition, we have connection support groups for regular adults, for young adults, as well as family support groups. So the connection support group, we have them in person in each of our hubs. So we are based out of the, right now, out of the Bon Secours CRC in West Baltimore. In East Baltimore, we are based out of the Morgan Cares Hub. And in East Essex County, we are at the Essex Public Library at the moment. So we have in-person opportunities as well as virtual opportunities for both the young adults who are ranging for our definitions aged 18 to 39, as well as families. So even though our support groups, you must be 18 and older to participate. If you are a family member or go attend with a family, you're welcome to attend and bring your children or any youth that you are responsible for, so long as you're present and are allowing them to be present as well. So our trained facilitators don't always have like a psychology background or anything like that. Once again, we're entirely peer led and really are just about the lived experience and allowing people the space and the safe spaces to talk about what they're going through and to relate to others in this community. In addition, we have NAMI Ending the Silence, which is the presentation that I actually took to New Song that Jason was talking about earlier. Typically, we bring this to middle school audiences for students, but it's also available for school staff or staff of youth serving organizations, as well as families and parents. It is entirely led by volunteers with lived experience of their own, or once again with family members who have lived experience, and they provide an overview of mental health warning signs, facts, and statistics, and how to have difficult conversations surrounding mental health with your friends, with family, or even with staff members who could potentially help. NAMI in our own voice is something that we take to the older audiences. So I'd say like high school, colleges, and we have a different version for adults. led by volunteers again with lived experiences of their own, who it's a little bit less of like, here, I'm going to teach you some definitions, teach you some common misconceptions about mental health and mental health conditions, and more so about this is what I went through. This is what happened to me when I discovered that I had a mental health condition or conditions, what helped me. So the therapies or medicines, if that, or what kind of wellness activities helped me get through, and what is next for me in my journey now that I am living well with my mental health condition. So NAMI Sharing Hope is another signature presentation that we have. It is entirely for the Black and African American community. It is a completely free program that we provide to talk about mental health because people of Black and African ancestry deserve supportive and healing spaces, once again, in an area that is culturally sensitive. So I believe the picture is hosted at Morgan Cares, but we've taken it to churches. This typically is where we take the presentation to, and it's a series of 3 weeks. So say like we have it scheduled on Wednesday 1 week, the 2 consecutive weeks after that we'll have other sessions, so it's 3 sessions over the span of 3 weeks. And once again, children are allowed to attend so long as their parents and guardians or people and adults that are responsible for them are present as well. Similar to Sharing Hope, we have Compartiendo Esperanza. It's for the Hispanic and Latin American community, and instead, this is entirely spoken in Spanish, with our volunteers who speak Spanish and around the area as well. So same thing, especially lately with this being a huge need, because people of Latin American descent are, like living in fear of having to go out to spaces that aren't comfortable for them. We've been taking it to them, because they at least know that they will be safe and they will be protected there. So definitely a lot of churches is where we tend to take this to. And community education. So this and the following community education programs are things that we offer that might not be offered throughout the rest of the country. This is entirely unique to the NAMI Metropolitan Baltimore affiliates. So I Will Listen is one of our biggest events. It started off surrounding for the colleges and universities in Maryland. It's during Mental Illness Awareness Week in October. It's, I think, usually the first week of October every year. And we partner with schools and universities, like not only their mental health support staff, but also their student engagement to host events in support of mental health awareness and destigmatization efforts. So the top picture, like kind of on the outside where like there's a woman in blue and they're like in what looks like a park, is actually at the place where I graduated from. I graduated from Notre Dame of Maryland University. This is the first time I had ever learned about NAMI, was through the I Will Listen campaign. So we partner with schools and they'll do like slam poetry, they'll do open mics, they'll do therapy dogs is another one that you see kind of in the middle, partnership where they're sorry. Let me mute myself. Ooh, I don't know where that is. I'm sorry. Let me just get a quick sip. So basically, college students and staff members pledge that they're going to lend a listening ear to a fellow peer member who might be going through something, and just kind of be aware that each people in the community have a story and they're willing to listen, to further reduce stigma surrounding mental health. And we also take it to some surrounding companies. We are also trying to expand it right now, for the schools and universities, to trade schools as well, so non-traditional educational organizations. So that is one of our current projects. So this is a new one. So we had just released this pilot program in the fall. So the start of this past school years. It's called Mighty Monsters for 1st to 3rd graders. So my predecessor and our staff had noticed that there's a severe lack in programming tailored specifically to the early, like elementary school ages, about emotions and feelings and mental health. And so we had developed a storybook presentation with the 5 cute little characters that you guys see. They all represent 5 core emotions. Creates opportunities for students to just discuss situations that they felt certain feelings, as well as how to manage their emotions. And we definitely stress the importance of having more than one trusted adult. Oftentimes they talk about mom, dad, or family members at home, but um, we learn that not always do first through third graders recognize their mental health support staff, or that they can go to their teachers for help, especially when they need assistance, or if there's, problems going on at home that they don't know who to talk to. It's definitely important to bring that to the support staff they have at school. So this is kind of why we have this program going. So the storybook presentation is followed by an activity packet where the kids can creatively write out or draw out situations where they felt certain feelings as represented by the characters below, and as well as their coping mechanisms for them. And they also are allowed to write down their trusted adults and whatnot. And so in the pictures provided, we give them goodie bags as a way of saying thank you for being good students and allowing us the room to just, be respectful to us, because basically we're replacing an SEL lesson. We're there for 45 minutes to an hour, just teaching them as if we were teachers within the classroom. And we give them a little goodie bag. I wish I had one to show you guys, but it has like a parent postcard with some NAMI resources for families, such as the ones that I showed you before, a little pencil with the characters on it, because we know that kids need that, a mood magnet so they can put it in their locker and their fridge to move around like how they feel. What else do they have? I'm sorry. Stickers, yes, stickers. I always emphasize don't stick them on things that aren't your own, like no desks, no floor, nothing like that, just on your notebooks and whatnot, and papers. And then these handmade crafts as like almost like um what are they called, fidget toys, as a soothing thing since they're soft. They're created entirely by our volunteers, because we always want the volunteers to kind of connect to our new programs. And so pictured below is a volunteer craft session held at our office, where it's pretty simple. You take some cardstock that we print out, glue them together. And so on the back, they have some NAMI resources in our helpline. And then you see it's kind of a fuzzball of like a yarn pom pom, essentially, that we shove in the middle. So it's super cute. The kids kind of go crazy for it. They love it so much. So, but for this initial year, we thought we'd try to do something simple. And not only do the kids love it, the volunteers love it, because rarely do they ever get to just kind of interact with other volunteers other than at actual events. And it's very stress free. It's we tend to have a lot of good yap sessions and just like do arts and crafts and just talk. And we also provide snacks for the folks that come into our office as a way of saying thank you. So it's a good time all around. Further on, we have Virtual Voices, which is an experiential workshop, which gives participants an idea of what it would be like to have auditory hallucinations while completing tasks. So you have to interview a friend, you have to complete a puzzle, and sometimes answer some very simple questions, and even sometimes math questions where people who don't normally experience auditory illusions obviously struggle a little bit because they can't focus as much when they're hearing too much going on. And so we take that a lot to a lot of medical professionals, so like doctoral students, as a way of creating a sense of empathy and understanding, because we tend to a lot of folks tend to approach people who experience hallucinations with fear, and that's stigmatizing, especially as a healthcare professional. So we found the most success in doing that with healthcare pre-healthcare professionals who are hoping to at least learn a little bit more about it. We also host mental health forums as well as educational conference for faith leaders. So that's coming up in May, I believe. Sorry. Further, one of our biggest ways of really just getting out there in the community is that we participate at community events by tabling. So providing little giveaways. I know you can kind of squint and see there's like little stress balls. We have tote bags, some fidget toys, stickers, pens, hand sanitizers, of our resources, as well as 988 resources. And yeah, it's always a great way of like kind of supporting the events that we're at, as well as kind of getting to know people who are curious about wanting to give back or wanting to participate in our programs. We also have a helpline. So the helpline is specifically providing resources that are localized. So I know NAMI National as well as NAMI Maryland has their own helpline. And typically, like if you call NAMI National, they'll connect you to NAMI Maryland, which will connect you to the local affiliates. So our helpline operates Monday through Friday every week, except on major holidays from 9 to 5. And it is a warm line for resources, especially in the area. So anything from legal assistance, housing, employment, or even classes to give Narcan to somebody, to do CPR or things like that. We, even if it's a partnership organization, we provide those connections as well, and we also offer it in Spanish. And then at the bottom in bold, we just list 988 as the go-to suicide and crisis line. So we work directly with 988 if we have some folks calling in who are experiencing a crisis of their own. Since we are not medically trained professionals, we will give them a direct line to 988. And further advocacy efforts. So Advocacy Day was actually a couple weeks ago. We did it virtually this year, but we've previously gone down as staff members to Annapolis to advocate with legislators about policies that we're hoping to pass that aligns with our agenda. Specifically, one of the biggest ones this year was for sure about Medicaid. And some of these lists are major other events that also allow us to continue gaining support within the community. So Louder is where we find corporate sponsors to kind of elevate the conversation surrounding mental health. And we do have a NAMI walk. So we have our NAMI walk in the fall of this year. It's October 11th. So it's right after the I Will Listen week that we typically have right after the mental health, or right around the time of mental health awareness week. And so we are looking for people in the community to create a team. Even if you're not funding us or providing money donations, we always just want people to create teams to walk. It's either a trail or a 3-mile trail. So the link provided, you could join a team that's already existing, or you could create a team of your own. We're always looking for people to spearhead being team captains. So if you say you're a manager of an organization or you're a teacher and you have a lot of teachers that you know that are interested in participating, you could become a team captain, and all of your teacher friends could come and join you that day. So we're, like I said, that's something that we're looking for right now. Even though it's early, we always like to get a good sense of who's coming joining with us. So feel free to check that link out. We have DIY fundraisers that we tend to partner with, sororities and fraternities, and a lot of college, especially for me as a youth and young adult coordinator. We always partnership with a lot of colleges who are looking for a organization to help back their fundraising attempts. So, and the annual campaign as well happens around the holidays. And that's really it that I have. Any questions at all? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody. But yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle, and making it through even but only a couple of coughs. So God bless you as well.
I tried to
For
tackle
sure.
them, and then they just kept coming out. So
That was good. That was good. You did very well. Went through it.
thank you.
Didn't even know. Any questions from anyone? There was a lot of great information that was shared. Great group this evening. I guess everybody's taking in and learning from information. Yes, I said this was awesome. Great info. It definitely was. We got a lot of great info that's coming in tonight, which is important because we don't oftentimes get this platform to share these resources. So being able to do this with folks in the public is going to be key, and that's what we want to do, and make sure that people have the tools necessary, and hope that they use them. But at least we're able to share this with folks. So thank you for the work that you're doing and your team is doing, and for coming tonight and sharing as well, because that is what we need to do to help our families, our students, and everybody, and just become better at what we're doing. So thank you again. It has been a pleasure. Let me
Thank you for having me. I didn't get the slide of the contact information, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in chat just so everyone can have it.
Perfect. Excellent. And then we'll also have it as information on the follow-up, so it'll be out there for everyone as well, so they can get it. So you may get a whole bunch of calls because we're going to put it out there. All right. And next we have our group with college and preparatory diploma pathway. Kaisha, let me get it. Egumbemi?
Very
Did I say that?
good.
Oh,
You hit it right
yes.
on the
Yeah.
nail.
Ooh, I was good. I was like, I'm gonna work it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
And you did on the first try. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I always try to make sure that, I keep people's name as sacred as possible, because I know it's important. And so I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes.
Coordinator of Advanced Academics and Gifted and Talented Programs with MSDE. So thank you for coming this evening. Let me stop my share now, because now it's all in your world.
Okay.
And definitely let's on to you. Without further ado, the platform is yours.
All right. So I always have trouble sharing screens on one single screen, but I will just first thank you so much for inviting me to come to this meeting and talk to you about the new and progressive steps that all Maryland public schools are taking toward providing more access and equity and expansion of our college preparatory pathways. So the blueprint requires now that every student who is college and career ready, meaning that they have passed Algebra 1 and English 10, are to enroll in a post CCR pathway. The state recognizes 3 post CCR pathways. One of them is career and technical education. Another one is dual enrollment. And another one, and the one that I'm here to talk about this evening, is the college preparatory pathway. The college preparatory pathway has several branches to it. A student can earn or they can pursue earning an IB diploma or one of 3 AP choices. So we have the AP capstone diploma, which is the gold standard, in my opinion, of AP diplomas. It requires students to complete 6 AP courses. One of them is AP research. The other one is AP seminar. The other 4 are whatever the student chooses. In order to earn the diploma, the student has to pass the course with a C or better and score a 3 or higher on the assessment. Next is the AP International Diploma, and that is a diploma for students who are multilingual and maybe are considering studying abroad. It requires students to complete 6 courses and among those 6 courses, they are AP level language courses. And the most common pathway that every high school in the state should be prepared to offer by the launch of the next school year, the launch of school year 25-26, is the Maryland AP option. And that only requires students to complete 5 AP classes across 2 different content areas. And of course, earning C's or better and earning a score of 3 or higher in each of their AP classes. It's important to note that no student is locked into a pathway. The purpose of these pathways are to structure students' learning experiences so they're not just taking classes all over the place, but taking classes and following a pathway that is going to lead them to their highest educational ambition. So, students who earn one of those AP options or one of those IB options that I mentioned are most competitive when applying for scholarships and when applying for college admission at most competitive colleges. Something that families always ask us is about the benefits and the differences between dual enrollment and AP, because you can get college credit for both. But the difference is the AP pathways, the AP diplomas are recognized all over the country. And when families are working with their students and their counselors, trying to decide what is the best choice for their students, it's going to be very important that families, counselors, and students look at a school's transfer policies, the transfer of credit policies, because these are college level courses. We want to make sure that as your students are working really hard, studying hard, learning a lot, that their coursework is going to pay off in the way that they expect. Both dual enrollment and advanced placement, as well as IB, offer students to have to earn college credit, but how those credits are transferred is what makes the difference. Sometimes those credits transfer as electives, and sometimes they transfer as program completers. So again, it's going to be super important that families really consider their students' educational ambitions, where they want to go to school. And it's also important to know that a student can enroll in multiple pathways. So if a student is really into computer technology, for example, and there are some industry recognized credentials that they can earn through a CTE program in computer engineering or computer science, they do not have to choose between one or the other. They can earn credits in both pathways. And so right now is enrollment season. Everybody's getting geared up for next school year. I encourage you all to please talk to your counselors, talk to your principals, talk to your children about the courses that they want to take, the diploma pathways that once they are college and career ready, they're going to select. And that is all the information I have to talk about. And I'm able to take questions. And while I'm taking questions, I'm going to try to figure out how to share this flyer with you. So just bear with me a moment.
Thank you for sharing. That was great information, and really important for our families and our students to know. So, are there any questions regarding what was presented this evening? Guess the rain is keeping everybody quiet tonight.
Yeah, everybody's a really good listener.
That's right. That was great information. I mean, when you get good information, sometimes you don't have questions because you've shared everything that we need, which is wonderful.
So I'm taking a while to find the link that will transfer. But before I disconnect, I'm going to put my contact in the chat, as well as the link to our informational flyer. And I encourage everyone to feel free to reach out to me if you have a question. I see
We have a
Shartae has a
Yep,
question.
Shartae. Yes.
Hi, good evening. You talked about how like parents and students and counselors have to make sure that the schools that students kind of want to get into can accept AP credits or transfer credits. I'm just curious, is there like a list of schools in Maryland that do accept those credits? I'll be curious to kind of put that information out there for
Yeah,
parents.
there are so many. We really did a deep dive to find out about the transfer agreements, and I promise you, everybody's is different. For the most part, all of the public universities in Maryland do accept AP credit, AP courses for college credit, but some of them have conditions. So if someone wanted to study at the University of Maryland College Park, they have a different set of agreements and expectations than the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Hopkins is the most restrictive, but that's not necessarily considered a public university. So it is, it, there's not a list yet. We were working on it, but um, their information is very easy to find on their websites.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question. Okay, I'm dropping this pathway information in the chat. Please let me know if you can open that.
Yes, it opened right up.
Wonderful. And there's my contact information. Should you think of any questions you need answers to later on?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate your time and sharing the great resources with us, especially as we're getting closer to the end of the school year. So this is when people are really thinking about it and working at it. And, you know, your point of, you know, so many different ones. You just got to do your research to find out. And here's some links that'll help you with that. So thank you so much for your time.
You're
We
very
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you for
And
inviting me.
no, thank you. And I believe we are good to go. So we'll move on to the next piece. Let me share again. Now I'm gonna share, just like sharing my screen. We are into, so as a reminder, I'm gonna make sure I'm on the right thing. Sharing this. Well, it's over here. We're gonna go into some committee updates real quick. So and let me see who's on. So we'll go. Shartae, do you want to do communications committee? Are you still on?
Yeah, sure. So just kind of a quick update. I believe it was either the end of February or sometime in February, we met with committee chairs to just address some questions that committee members had for PCAB. And based on that, we talked about how to update some of our resources and particularly our website on how to best like serve parents and families. And that's something that we're working on that is in the works. So just wanted to give that update.
Just looking at the folks who are on here. It's probably into the no policy update. Anything with teaching and learning, Dr. Ryan?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Really, the main thing is our next committee meeting will take place on Thursday, March 27th at 7 p.m. And I believe if they send an email to PCAB, they can get the information if they're interested in joining the meeting.
That is correct. Excellent. Thank you so much. So we'll jump into general announcements. May 15th is the spring PCAB public meeting with Dr. Santelises. So we hope that you are all ready to join us. So we have, we need to be able to send her questions. Today is the last day to have your questions considered for the spring meeting. So you can scan the link, scan the QR code, click the link, and submit your questions that you have for Dr. Santelises, and we take those questions, put them into categories, and then send them off to her team so that she can do her best to answer as many as possible during that public meeting time. So spring public meeting with Dr. Yep. So like I said, we go through the questions. We try to target between 13 and 15 questions because of the time period that we have with her. And focus on budget, family, and community engagement, policy, communications, teaching and learning, school safety and wholeness, special education services, students with disabilities, and then general other questions. So again, it'll stay open till today. Please do your best to get it in. And then we'll vote on the questions within the next week or so. And then the final question will be submitted by close of business on Thursday, April 3rd to Dr. Santelises' team. PCAB committee meeting updates. So we said the policy committee meets March 24th at 6 p.m. Which is the fourth Monday. Teaching and learning, March 27th at 7 p.m. City schools code of conduct feedback sessions. So this is important. We definitely want you all to be involved and engaged, and these affect your students. So we want you to be there. Thursday, March 27th from 5 to 6 p.m. April 1st. The other one on April 1st. One during the afternoon in the district and for the district, and then the other one, the evening one is for the parents. March 27th is for the students. Community members, Thursday, April 3rd. And teachers, Thursday, April 10th. So share these out. These will all be posted on our social media, on our website. And please share them out so that people can attend and be involved because they want to hear your thoughts on the code of conduct. Our PCAB public meeting, Thursday, April 24th, due to spring break. Our April public meeting will not be held on the 17th, but is rescheduled for the 24th. So enjoy your spring break. We all will. So please do the same as well. And then we'll come back. Some upcoming outreach opportunities. Saturday, March 22nd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Education and Resource Fair, 100 South Washington Street, Baltimore, Maryland. Then Monday, March 24th, 4 to 6 p.m. A parent sip and paint at New Song Community Learning Center. I think I'll be there. And then April Community School bi-monthly convening, 12 to 1:30. We definitely want to thank you all for attending this evening. If you want more information on PCAB, how to support, how to be a part of, how to connect, how to be on a committee, how to be a board member, go to www.pcabbaltimore.org. Get involved, join a committee, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X as well. So do your best, follow us, and please stay safe this evening if you're still out trying to travel, and want to give you some time. So have a good evening, and yeah, this is great. See you at our next public meeting. Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. Alrighty. Great job, everybody. Good night.
Good night.